The film begins by showing a group of literature students who are part of a campus club called the Killer Book Club. The club members consist of Angela, Sarah, Rai, Koldo, Eva, Virginia, and Sebas. Recently, Angela's boyfriend, Nando, also started attending their club meetings. Even though Nando is not a student at their university, he has become interested in reading books because of Angela's influence. The club's activities revolve around reading horror books. In each meeting, they discuss a horror novel and analyze it together. At this meeting, they are discussing a book about the terror of a killer clown.
Escrita y tal, y los payasos asesinos.
Libro, ¿no? Que aparte de asustar...
Los libros.
¿Quién quiere empezar? A ver, pero que...
Once the meeting is over, everyone heads back to their homes. On her way home, Angela is accompanied by Sebas. Sebas then asks Angela about the progress of her horror novel. It turns out that, besides being an active member of the Killer Book Club, Angela is also a horror novelist. Her first novel, The Girl from Carrion, tells the story of a girl who is forced by her cruel mother to write horror stories. Under constant pressure, the girl eventually goes insane and kills her mother by burning her alive. When officially released, Angela's debut novel received overwhelmingly positive feedback from readers. Thanks to the success of her first book, Angela is determined to write a new novel. However, anxiety and fear begin to haunt her as she worries that her next work might not be as well received as her first one. Sebas encourages Angela to send the draft of her new novel to a well-known professor at their university named Cruzado. Cruzado will surely read it and provide valuable feedback if there are any weaknesses.
Sebas, estoy bloqueada. Llevo 6 años bloqueada.
No sé por qué no quieres reeditar La Niña de Carrión.
Later, when she arrives home, Angela considers sending Cruzado an email with her new novel attached, hoping he will read it and give her advice. But in the end, Angela decides not to go through with it, feeling that her draft is still not good enough to be shown to him. The next day, after finishing class, Cruzado tells Angela that he has already read the draft of her novel. Angela is left confused by his words, because she clearly remembers that she never actually sent the draft. How could Cruzado have received her latest work? Cruzado then says that he wants to give her some feedback on the novel and asks Angela to come to his office immediately. Hearing this, Angela feels very excited. This is an opportunity she does not want to miss. Believing that Cruzado will share his thoughts and suggestions about her novel, Angela follows him into his office. But instead of discussing her writing, Cruzado shockingly harasses Angela.
Has hecho muy bien escribiendo. Creo que me estás entendiendo perfectamente.
She is stunned and terrified by his actions. Unable to endure it, Angela fights back and luckily manages to escape his office. Deeply traumatized by what happened, Angela initially considers reporting Cruzado to the police. However, she realizes that as just an ordinary student, she stands little chance against one of the university's most respected professors. Instead, she only dares to confide in her friends from the Killer Book Club. Outraged by Cruzado's behavior, the group comes up with an idea for revenge. They will terrorize him. By doing so, they can punish Cruzado without having to involve the authorities. Their plan is to disguise themselves as clowns and subject him to a series of terrifying pranks until he develops a phobia of clowns. At first, Angela hesitates to go along with the plan, but her friends convince her that this is the only way she can truly take revenge. Eventually, Angela agrees. They all purchase the necessary props, clown masks, black cloaks, and a hammer as their weapon. The last step is for Angela to lure Cruzado into meeting her in his office that night. As night falls, they all begin to carry out their plan. The appearance of several mysterious clowns terrifies Cruzado, causing him to panic and run frantically. While being chased, Cruzado is struck, leaving his face bleeding and his head dizzy. Staggering, he moves toward Angela, who is in the middle of putting on her mask. But accidentally, Angela bumps into him, causing Cruzado to fall from a great height and die instantly. Naturally, this throws them all into panic, as his death was never part of their plan. They never intended to kill Cruzado, yet because of their actions, his life is lost. To avoid being caught by the police, they all agree never to speak of it again and to pretend it never happened.
Mierda, mierda. ¡Que lo has matado, tía!
¡Que se tengan por homicidio!
Hay que hacer algo, pero hay que hacerlo ya.
A ti se te está yendo.
They then head to a secret place to burn all the evidence, such as the clown masks and black cloaks they had used. Days pass since Cruzado's death, and Angela carries a heavy burden of guilt. She actually wants to report the incident to the police, but her friends strongly oppose the idea. Now Angela lives in constant fear and anxiety, haunted by the secret she keeps. One day in class, a mysterious account under the name The Clown suddenly joins the Killer Book Club group chat. The clown sends a passage of a novel that describes Cruzado's death, complete with disguised details about all of them. The story recounts in detail how Cruzado died because of Angela's club. Instantly, panic spreads among them. They become convinced that the clown must have been present at the scene of Cruzado's death. But they also doubt this because they were certain no one else was there that night. Rai suspects that the clown might actually be one of the Killer Book Club members trying to scare them. Soon, they begin pointing fingers at each other.
Unos a otros. No estamos locos. El influencer, la biblioteca.
Tiene que ser uno de nosotros.
Bueno, parad ya!
Since only they know the exact details of Cruzado's death, anyone else who knows must be from their group. Suspicion grows stronger when Rai notices Virginia drawing something disturbing. When he takes her drawing without permission, Virginia becomes furious and storms off. Her sudden departure makes everyone begin to suspect that Virginia could be the clown.
Creo que algunas están...
The next day, after finishing her shower, Angela hallucinates and sees the killer clown, causing her to scream like she has gone mad. It seems Angela has been thinking too much about the clown, which makes her keep experiencing these hallucinations. Later, Angela meets Sebas and tells him about the clown, who has just sent another part of the novel. This new passage describes how the clown will terrorize and kill Virginia.
Se lo merecía. Sus pasillos le debieron parecer.
While reading the novel, Angela and Sebas go to the place where Virginia is supposedly killed.
Por aquí es en la novela más terrorífica de la historia.
Instead of finding Virginia's body, they discover a message written in Virginia's blood. The one who wrote that must have been the clown. Angela and Sebas immediately inform the rest of their friends to start searching for Virginia. However, after a long search, they still cannot find her body. The terror brought by the clown begins to make everyone fearful. Eva then comes up with an idea to uncover the true identity of the clown. She suggests they go to the library and check the records of students who have borrowed horror books from the campus library. Eva believes the killer clown must have been inspired by a horror story they once read. They spend their time checking the names, but in the end, they discover that the only ones who have borrowed horror books are the members of the Killer Book Club themselves. In other words, the clown must be one of them. Shortly after, Angela excuses herself to listen to a voice message from Nando.
Error de la universidad, sino que somos...
Suddenly, Angela is terrorized again by the killer clown. It seems the clown is constantly watching the movements of the Killer Book Club members. Before anything worse can happen, Nando arrives just in time to calm Angela down. Suddenly, a clown mask appears at Nando's feet, making Angela suspect that Nando might actually be the clown. Her friends also begin to suspect Nando as the killer clown. Nando tries to explain that he has just arrived and has no idea what is happening. But since suspicion is already heavy on him, the group tells Nando to stay away from them. The next day, Angela once again receives an update of the clown's novel. In it, it is written that Rai will be the next victim. Rai's death occurs when he is at a nightclub. Outside, Rai encounters the clown, who brutally slashes open his stomach. Afterward, Rai's body is taken to an abandoned swimming pool and burned to erase any evidence. Without wasting time, Angela and the others rush to the place to search for Rai's body. There, Angela questions Rai's girlfriend Sarah about what happened the previous night. Sarah explains that she, Rai, and Koldo had gone to the nightclub where Nando works. However, Nando and Rai got into a small fight, which caused Rai to storm out. Since then, Sarah has not seen Rai again. Still, Sarah is certain that Nando is not the clown, because when Rai disappeared, she saw Nando still working at the club. This leaves them more confused than ever about the clown's real identity. Distrust spreads among them and they begin to accuse each other. Sarah even accuses Eva of killing Rai, though she has no proof. Her words anger Eva, causing tension to rise. At the abandoned pool, they do not find Rai's body, only another message written in his blood. Angela then continues her effort to uncover the truth about the clown. Since suspecting Nando, Angela has not met him again, and she now spends most of her time with Sebas to investigate. Sebas digs into the clown's account and discovers a social media profile that follows one user, a girl named Alicia. At that moment, Angela remembers her old friend Alicia. 6 years earlier, Angela had an online friend named Alicia, who was also a horror writer. Angela confesses to Sebas that her debut novel was actually inspired by Alicia's real-life story. Alicia had once shared with Angela about her miserable life, suffering constant abuse from her mother. Obsessed with literature, Alicia's mother forced her to read and write endlessly. Whenever Alicia disobeyed, she was brutally punished. Angela had found Alicia's story terrifying, and she shamelessly turned that suffering into the basis for her own novel. When Alicia realized Angela had profited from her pain, she was furious. Alicia swore she would one day write a story even more painful for Angela as revenge. After hearing this, Sebas begins to suspect that the clown might actually be Alicia. But Angela quickly denies it, insisting that Alicia died in a fire with her mother. To this day, Angela has never seen Alicia's face, and her death still fills Angela with guilt. Seeing how broken she is, Sebas tries to comfort her, and in the heat of the moment, he confesses his love. Overwhelmed with stress, Angela gives in, and the two end up sleeping together. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Nando is busy working when he receives a message from the clown, warning him that Angela is in danger inside the university morgue. Without hesitation, Nando rushes there to save her, but it turns out to be a trap to lure him alone. The clown chases him, yet strangely does not kill him. Instead, Nando is merely knocked unconscious. Back to Angela, after sleeping with Sebas, the two of them receive another message from the clown, this time a continuation of the novel that describes Nando's death. Sebas and Angela quickly rush off to confirm whether the story is true. At first, they fear that Nando has been killed, but to their relief, he is still alive. Angela asks Nando how he managed to survive the clown's attack, but Nando himself has no idea why the clown chose not to kill him. Shortly after, Angela sees a live stream from Koldo, who reveals that he too has received a message from the clown. In the video, the clown announces plans to release a printed horror novel and even host a book signing at a horror book fair the next day. He instructs everyone attending the fair to dress in clown costumes. Determined to catch him, Angela, Nando, Sebas, Sarah, Koldo, and Eva all head to the event. When they arrive, they realize the clown is live streaming from somewhere within the fair, showing the crowd around him. Watching the broadcast, they begin searching the area for his presence.
¿Qué haces, tío? Escuchas, que me lo des.
But the task becomes nearly impossible as the venue is full of visitors all dressed in clown attire. One by one, they start checking clowns who are using their phones. Frustrated at not finding the clown, Sarah loses control and smashes the phone of a random attendee. Because of this, security immediately chases her. Sarah flees and hides inside a nearby glass house, but to her horror, she comes face to face with the real clown. A frantic chase ensues as Sarah runs desperately toward the exit. However, the glass house door will not open, trapping her inside. From the outside, Angela watches helplessly, trying to save Sarah. Tragically, the clown slaughters Sarah in cold blood. Witnessing her friend's brutal death right before her eyes devastates Angela. As if that weren't enough, she soon finds Koldo already dying, his throat slashed by the clown. All of it is the clown's doing. On that day, Angela loses 2 of her friends at once, leaving her mind and emotions in complete turmoil. Overcome by shock, Angela collapses and faints. After regaining consciousness, Angela finds herself inside an ambulance with Nando by her side. Nando shows her a message from the clown, demanding that Angela come alone to their old club headquarters. If she refuses, Sebas will be the next victim. At first, Nando tries to stop her, warning that it could be a trap. But Angela insists on going. She cannot let another friend get hurt. Before leaving, she takes one of the clown's signature weapons, a hammer, to defend herself. On the way to the place where Sebas is being held, Angela is shocked to discover Eva, already fatally wounded. Eva had apparently arrived earlier, trying to save Sebas herself. She even knows the true identity of the clown. But just as she is about to reveal it, Eva takes her last breath. Angela then reaches the place where Sebas is imprisoned. Unknown to her, Nando has been secretly following all along, worried that the clown might harm her. Inside, Sebas suddenly accuses Nando of being the killer clown. Outraged, Nando denies it and pleads with Angela to believe him. Sebas then begs Angela to kill Nando so the nightmare will finally end. Angela is torn, feeling deep down that Nando is not the clown. Suddenly, Sebas seizes the hammer Angela is carrying and strikes Nando, leaving him helpless. It is then revealed that the true identity of the clown is Sebas. The reason behind his actions is his desire to avenge Alicia, who had been driven insane because of Angela. In the past, Alicia and Sebas had been lovers. Alicia once confided in Sebas that Angela had exploited her suffering to become a famous author. Alicia's torment eventually drove her to madness, to the point of murdering her own mother. As Alicia's boyfriend, Sebas was enraged at Angela for what she had caused, and from that moment, he plotted revenge so that Angela would suffer as much as Alicia had. Sebas had been the one who secretly sent Angela's draft novel to Cruzado, adding a forged message that made it seem as if Angela wanted to sleep with him. Oblivious to the manipulation, Angela went to Cruzado's office where she was harassed, exactly as Sebas had planned. Sebas was also the one who suggested that the group take revenge on Cruzado by terrifying him with clown costumes. But when Cruzado died unexpectedly, Sebas saw it as an opportunity. Using the tragedy, he wrote a horrifying story that mirrored their real lives, ensuring Angela could never find peace. Everything that has happened, every terror, every death, was part of Sebas's twisted novel. When Sebas lets his guard down, Angela seizes the chance to wound him before rushing off to find help. Suddenly, she's confronted by another figure wearing a clown mask. The figure removes the mask, revealing herself to be Virginia, but in truth, Virginia's real identity is Alicia. Alicia had faked her death years ago and assumed a new identity as Virginia in order to take revenge on Angela. Alicia and Sebas had been working together all along, carefully plotting to destroy Angela's life. Now their plan reaches its climax. They intend to kill her. What they do not realize, however, is that Nando is still alive. Seeing him, Angela distracts Sebas and Alicia so they don't notice what's behind them. Nando then manages to push Sebas off a ledge, killing him instantly. Enraged, Alicia gravely injures Nando and goes after Angela, who desperately tries to escape. Using her quick thinking, Angela sets a trap with sparks of electricity and gasoline, ultimately killing Alicia. One year later, after everything she has endured, Angela's life begins to return to normal. She has become more confident in her writing and continues working on a new novel. Meanwhile, Nando decides not to be left behind. He enrolls in the same literature program as Angela, aspiring to become a novelist himself. After class, Angela and Nando part ways. He has another lecture to attend, while she heads off to meet with a publisher about her new project. On her way, however, Angela suddenly freezes at the sight of a terrifying clown. Paralyzed with fear, she screams hysterically. It becomes clear that the terror inflicted by Sibas and Alicia, who had disguised themselves as the clown, has left Angela with deep psychological scars. She now suffers from coulrophobia, an intense fear of clowns. Because of this trauma, Angela's life can never fully recover from the horrors of her past. And with that, the story comes to an end.